Vestige of freedom. We look across the nation, through the halls of government, with no visible signs of any pro-American sentiment to be displayed. What has happened to our great nation? Why do we seek to destroy ourselves? What is in our nature to make us want to kill the only bastion of freedom left in the world? What is taking place in our halls of government on every level must be deemed nothing short of treason, subversion of the integrity of the Constitution, and the planned internalized destruction of a sovereign nation. This is not a debate between left or right, Democrat or Republican. This is a debate about the permanent ruling class of Washington, D.C. that is working against the will of the entire American people. By some course, mechanism, or action, we must stop this establishment from its continued degradation and direct assault on the American way of life. In the most recent of direct assaults on our constitutional liberties, the establishment has deemed a direct confrontation on our Bill of Rights, our right to bear arms, our freedom of speech, attacks on our religion. This is not merely a difference in policy. They are directly assaulting every aspect of what makes us Americans. Our capital locked down with armed soldiers and razor wire fences is like we're in the middle of the invasion of Iraq. Our people are censored on all media. Our court of laws have stopped enforcing the rule of law. Our Justice Department is directly working against American laws and the American people. The establishment is taking the side of our foreign enemies over Americans. They have degraded our borders, have removed American sovereignty. We've canceled energy independence. We are exporting our money, blood, and treasure to foreign entities and receiving nothing in return. Our debt is reaching astronomical, unsustainable levels. All this is being done in plain sight of the American people, and we are still so simple-minded in our resolve that we're arguing about the difference between Republican and Democrat. How do we break through the noise and gain the attention of Americans? How do you get the people to stand together and fight back against the establishment that is killing our country? The further down the rabbit hole we go, the more I am convinced that the national apparatus controlled by the establishment is truly lost, and the only saving grace is to secede from the Union and for states to declare their own sovereignty. Our constitutional republic is fragile, and its design will fall under the weight of this continued assault on its principles. The amount of anti-American sentiment being displayed in our cities and streets has reached an overwhelming number. How does a nation based on the principles of freedom and liberty continue when the beating apparatus of the establishment consumes and controls every aspect of civil life? We must find a way to venture forth. There must be a point of reckoning where the establishment and all their instruments of suppression are held to account. My fellow Americans, nobody wants war. The patriots of the United States will do almost anything to prevent war. There's only one guaranteed way you can have peace: surrender. And that is something that Americans can never do. We can never submit to their will of an oppressive system. Americans would rather die than be slaves to the establishment. They want our complete and total conformity, submission, and obedience. A free people will never give their will to a totalitarian regime. The biggest disbelief I have in what is occurring within the United States is that fellow Americans would give up all their liberties with such ease, with no resistance. It is truly disheartening to watch my fellow citizens conform to the establishment narrative. Ignorance. It's not an excuse when you are degrading an entire nation of free people because you live your life through a policy of accommodation. Ronald Reagan said it best, that freedom is never more than one generation away from destruction. We are approaching that plateau at rapid speed. The people, through our inaction and inability to hold corrupt government officials accountable, are killing our country, our way of life, our sovereignty. We are continuing to degrade and destroy the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Are we at the point of open warfare, where we fight through direct action? If we are at that point, then we are truly lost as a nation. I honestly don't know the answer. We are close, and if we continue down this path, we will cross the line by which we are forced by action Americans to defend their own country against the corrupted government that is seeking to degrade it. If we work together, if we can find common ground, we can avert what is an almost certain destiny. My hope is that a free people have seen enough of the corruption, have seen enough of the digression to our way of life, that we will unite against our common enemy, the establishment. We are a country of the people, by the people, and for the people, vested by our Bill of Rights, inherent civil liberties, and our Constitution of the United States. We must never allow the degradation of our country. We have it within our power to shape our own destiny and restore the last vestige of freedom that remains in all the world.